Hey guys, this is Young Ninja, and today I have a special guest hosting this podcast with me. His name is Jesse. Okay, so today we're going to talk about food fighting food. So on social media at Doug Stan on Facebook or at Rotron9 on Twitter, we would like you to post your comments under this podcast about our debate on which food would win the fight. When I say fight, I mean literally a food fighting a food. Not like a person throwing a food at a food, but a food literally fighting a food. Okay, so who's going to win? A jumbo oyster with a lemon juice or a box of 12 donuts from Dunkin' Donuts? Jesse says the jumbo oyster will win, and I say the 12 box of donuts will win. What do you guys think? Comment under this podcast. Post who you think would win in a fight. The donuts, the oyster. And now the debate begins.
Yeah, I just have total and utter confidence in the jumbo oyster. I just don't think that any donuts will have anything to put up as far as offense or defense in being able to handle a jumbo oyster. I just think it's a pretty easy fight for the oyster.
Well, I mean, the second you open the seal on the box of donuts, the donut's going to come flying out ready to fight. I mean, donuts, you got donuts from butternut to maple frosted to jelly filled. I mean, don't get me started on the jelly filled. They're the strongest of them all. Their brute strength comes from their jelly.
Yeah, but see, they're protected by a box, where an oyster is protected by a shell, which is indestructible. And yeah, 12 donuts may come out, but they're not going to get past an oyster shell. He can shell up if he wants to play defense and let those donuts just rot and go bad. And if he wants to play offense, he can play that out like a sneaky, stealthy oyster that he is. So he's got that covered. The oyster's just not too worried.
But if you serve it, when people serve oysters at restaurants, don't they cut the shell open and cut it in half?
Yeah, we're talking about a living, breathing, giant jumbo oyster here. Not the kind of restaurant week little oysters that tourists eat up in Bar Harbor. We're talking about a real oyster here. So
yes, but you have to admit, a real oyster, when it gets served on a plate, because we're talking about food here, fighting food. So the food version of a real oyster is an oyster split down the middle.
Got you.
And the donuts, all they have to do is start eating that oyster.
Yeah. In my defense, and in the oyster's defense, I think what would happen in reality would be the donuts may try to eat the oyster, but the oyster being slippery and slick and also a little disgusting, it would be able to maneuver its way outside of the attacks of the donut. And in the process of this, the donuts would probably go bad and rancid from the sliminess of the oyster. They'd probably get, a bit of a hold on the oyster, and they'd get that slime on them, and the oyster would escape knowing that it's slimy and stealthy, and those donuts would probably just start rotting and going bad, and the process would begin of the oyster's world domination and win.
I will give you the fact that oysters are slimy, and donuts are made of bread, technically speaking, but there are those hard-earned donuts that have cinnamon sugar on them that just adds to their brute strength.
See, I'm not sure about the brute strengthness. It's primarily processed. It's usually, a Dunkin' Donuts donut is not going to be made from great quality ingredients, whereas an oyster is just a creature of the sea with strength and vitality. And I just think that with the quality of ingredients going into these donuts, it doesn't matter if there's 12 or if there's 1,200. I just don't think that they have the organic, healthy strength in order to take on such a thing as a jumbo oyster. I just think that nature would win, and that the oyster would absolutely 100% without any doubt prevail, and not only take over the donuts, but in the process probably take over the entire world. So it's not even a battle or a concern. It's a pretty easy win.
I mean, what happens when you add salt to an oyster?
Well, they live. Well, young ninja, they live in the ocean, so they're well accustomed to salt, and they live in a salty ocean water. So throwing salt at an oyster is really not going to do much, and in fact, it may just make it stronger or larger. So that attack would probably not go in favor of the donuts. In fact, it would likely backfire.
Okay, we'll give you oysters do live in a salty environment, but that salt is natural salt. The salt I'm talking about is the kind of salt that comes from salt mines and stuff out in the east and the Sahara Desert and places like that, where salt is very, very, very salty and comes in cubes.
Where are the donuts going to get this salt? I mean, isn't it the donuts versus the oyster? Because I mean,
Yes.
couldn't the oyster enlist the help of a giant gray white shark? If that's the case,
I mean, all the
you're
donuts
finding
really have,
another food ally.
all the donuts really have to do is they have.
Donuts don't have salt.
Well, there's some salty donuts out
There's
there.
not Dunkin' Donuts. Find
True,
a
I
salty
will give
Dunkin'
you-
Donuts.
I will give
It's
you.
all sugar.
Well, there are some donuts at Dunkin' Donuts that may not have salt in them, but they have a good ally when it comes to salt, because in Dunkin' Donuts there's plenty of salt to go around. I mean, they have everything from cane sugar to salty lattes to salty eggs, whatever. I mean, you have to put eggs in the salt in the donuts to make donuts. So in theory, if they accidentally mix the eggs that they make egg sandwiches with, they don't as to be mistaken to be donut eggs, and then they make the donuts with the egg sandwich eggs. I guess you could say that the salt gets into the donuts.
Okay, valid point. They may have a little bit of salt in them. It is surely not enough to take on an oyster, and we're forgetting here that the oyster, in fact, does have lemon juice with it. So, factoring that in, that lemon juice, the oyster's gonna be on the defensive mode. It's gonna be slipping and sliming away from all the attacks, and then it's gonna use that lemon juice to spray onto the donuts, and they're gonna go bad real quick. They're gonna get soggy. They're gonna get covered in that vitamin C, and it's just gonna destroy the donuts. The frost, all the coating, the sugary coating will dissolve, and again they'll rot and they'll go bad, and they'll very quickly lose strength and vitality.
Well,
And then they'll get defeated.
Well, guys out there listening to us, if you're just tuning in right now, I'd like to say that the donuts here and the oysters are having a pretty good debate. Jesse's points are valid about how the oyster is slippery, is slimy, has got the lemon juice on it. My points, though, are simple. The donut is full of sugar, has a sugary coating protecting it from any lemon juice that is out there or any other foreign substances. And you gotta admit, Dunkin' Donuts, their preservatives and their sugary preservatives and their unhealthy
They're very
ways
preserved.
of making donuts are superior to that of the oyster's sliminess.
Or natural state. I'm not sure about that, but I still respect Young Ninja's opinion, but agree to disagree, as Ron Burgundy says.
And now, guys, all of you listening, I'd like you to post under this video, or podcast actually, what you guys think would win. The oyster, given our points, or the donut. And given there's 12 donuts here that we're talking about. A box of 12 donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. And you guys have your imagination. You know what Dunkin' Donuts has for donuts. Think of any 12 of those donuts, and that's what's in the box. And it could be two of the same. It could be one of each. It could be all 12 that they got for flavors. but it's oyster versus 12 donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. Post down below what you guys think, and I think this will wrap this podcast up. What do you think, Jesse?
I think that just about does it. Yep, I'm satisfied with my my points, and I feel content. This has been a good debate here.
All right, and this is Young Ninja and
Jesse John Chevelle
signing off. Goodbye.